You don't have a choice. It's time to grow. It's time to grow. So before you crucify me, I know that I've been gone for a long time. But then the reason why I leave for these long periods is so that I can, refine the content that I'm going to be putting out and be sure that I'm giving you guys factual information. Okay? But I know this was a long break and I'm sorry. Forgive me. Don't burn the witch. Okay, so we're talking about growth and how you know it's time to grow. And I'm going to be giving a few points about this topic to let us know. Okay, let's get into it. So how you know it's time to grow is your comfort zone doesn't feel so comfortable anymore. Yeah. So if you were one who would, maybe for people who work remotely, we tend to, work from the bed a lot of the time, sometimes when you're feeling serious, you now want to work from your desk and all of that. But, the bed is right there, so it's easy to just sleep back in bed. So maybe you're putting in 5 hours a day when you should ideally be putting 8 hours a day, and then you come to a point where you're not even just satisfied with that anymore. You just start to feel like there's more to life, and so you actually now wake up early, sit in your desk and put in the 8 hours that you're supposed to put in, stuff like that. Or maybe you're making a decent amount in sales and you don't really need to put so much work and you're making that amount, but you've come to the point where you now know that if you put in a little bit more, you would make more money. Yeah, so you even are uncomfortable with just being a couch potato and sitting down and doing nothing. That's one way Still on that, you start to feel like even the things that you aspire to do are sort of not, they're just meh to you. The people that your daily conversations, you just feel like you've outgrown that. Like, instead of spending so much time on the phone and talking and just in, you just want to do stuff. That's one way. Another way is your desires have shifted. So when you get to the point where you are fed up of your status quo and, everything is just meh, like I said, you now, start to desire other things like more productivity, more money, more growth, climbing up the corporate ladder, stuff like that. You just discover that, the things that you used to desire, you no longer desire. I'll use one as a very, very common example. As children, we all, not all, because my sister used to be one of those weird children who didn't like sugar. But as children, we all wanted to eat sweets. We all wanted sugar. We would cry for ice cream and beg. And then we realized that as we grow older, these things don't appeal to us anymore. In fact, on my birthday, I said I was going to give myself a treat because I had been off sugar for a while. And I went to get ice cream. And from the first taste, I don't want to say disgusted, but it was close because I'm like, what is this? And I was just sitting down there and just realizing that, wait, barely 10 years ago, like, I would die to have this ice cream, and now it's even too sweet. Like, it was so sweet I couldn't swallow it, and I couldn't enjoy the ice cream. So it's just stuff like that. What was once nice to you starts to change, and then you're just not interested anymore. Your old habits don't match your new desires. Yeah, this one has happened to me a lot. So there's a time when I was in a rut, and I think I've talked about the beauty of a rut. If I haven't put it on TikTok, I've done an article about it, and I've talked about it on the podcast. By the way, guys, listen to the A.L.T podcast. Thank you. There was a time when my workload got bigger. I was working on multiple projects. I couldn't be waking up at 7 anymore. In fact, even before, I think that it's so beautiful that our minds and our souls, even our bodies, sort of know when something is coming. And, I kept getting the prompting to wake up earlier. So my body would even wake me up at 5 sharp, to tell you how crazy it is. I'd wake up at 5 sharp and I'll just wallow and wonder why I'm waking up that early when, But then I realized because of how much I needed to do at the time, my body was preparing for what was coming. I couldn't be waking up at 7. I needed to get my own personal things done between the hours of that 5 and 7, so that from 7 I could jump on work or work out or stuff. So yeah, your old habits don't match your new taste. You can't be waking up at 8. It's not for everybody. For some people, when you want to grow, you cannot be eating sugar and carbs when you are trying to lose weight. You cannot be consuming material that is the opposite of the growth that you're trying to achieve. Say, for example, you're trying to I'll use myself as an example. One of my guilty pleasures is going to watch old Nolly, especially the ones that have Patience Ozoko in them. They crack me up. But then I realized for me to be able to go through my public speaking journey properly, I would have to switch what I was listening to every time, because whether you like it or not, these things have a way of affecting your mind. It's registered in your subconscious. So that my grammar is not being affected, I had to change what I was watching at the time. Excuse me. And I switched to watching a lot of. I like all those aristocracy shows, and the ones that focus on the old Britain or old America. I love those kind of shows, so I started to watch those kind of shows, and I saw an improvement. I mean, I'm not looking for my accent to change, but I saw an improvement. So yeah, stuff like that. Your old habits don't just align with your new desires. Another one that I've noticed, and is probably my favorite, is that the opportunities that would scare you before now appeal to you. Is crazy, because there's certain opportunities I used to look at maybe 2 years ago and be like, oh my god, I can't wait to be in this place where I can do this. And now I just find myself applying for them or trying to do them, and I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that you tell me is no. But this was a slow journey from the beginning, and then I've gotten to the point where they don't scare me anymore. In fact, if anything, you start to wonder what was holding me back. Like, why wasn't I trying to get to this level? Sometimes they are actually above your experience level, but the fact that you gotten to the point where you're daring enough to want to even try makes it obvious that you've gotten to the place where you are ready for that kind of opportunity. And to my favorite indicator, you will always have that inner voice. It's not going to let you be. For me, it doesn't let me be anyway. It's not going to let you be. There'll always be the nudging that you can do better. You are meant to do better. You have to stop this thing, or you have to start this thing. You know how people always keep saying, oh, I'm supposed to start working out. I'm supposed to start working out, but never do. It's because of stuff like this. So you're supposed to, it starts to prompt you. It's always at the back of your mind that you're supposed to do these things. So if you've been diagnosed with the case of having 1 or 2 or maybe 5 of all of these symptoms, that it's time to grow. And if you know that it's time to grow, I want you to put in the comment section growth. And then we will talk about the growth in the coming videos. All right? Bye, guys.